in the band.
So, okay. So, again, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to actually meet you. Um, I got a list of questions I want to ask you. Uh, so, I guess if you have any questions, I guess we'll get started. Unless you have any questions, we'll get started.
No, it's great to be here, and thank you for asking me to be on your podcast.
Oh, very much so. I always love to get a chance to talk to people that work on the original show or worked on the comic or anything. So, and again, Zartan is one of the fan favorites. So it's a pleasure to talk with you.
Terrific. Well, ask. Put a
Okay.
microphone in front of me. I have my. You can't see it, but it's
Right.
the blue ball microphone, and so I have my mic in front of me,
There you go. You're ready to
ready
go.
to roll. So whatever you want to ask me about, I'm happy to answer.
All right. So let me go ahead and introduce you. Welcome to Bravo Team. This episode, I have a very special guest joining me here in the Headcast Studios. His name is Zack Hoffman, aka I guess Uncle Z. And people listening to this show may know him best as Zartan from the G.I. Joe cartoon universe. He's also done other work. He was in Pee Wee's Big Adventure as the director, Highway to Heaven as court clerk, Fugitive, the 2000 version as Pike. He did various voices in Moop and Dreadly, and Treasure on Big Bong Island, the video game. He was in The Mix Up, Untraceable, and Homeland. Thank you very much for joining us today, Zack.
Great to be here.
So I have to ask. The first question is Uncle Z. I think it was on IMDb as your nickname. Is that a family thing or is that an industry thing?
No, that was an industry thing. We used to do parody songs for Dr. Demento. My partner Al Green and I, we did. We took off the Bee Gees' "More Than a Woman." We made it "Bald Headed Woman." You can probably find that out there, but that was our big hit, "Bald Headed Woman," and a number of them. We just every time we'd go into the studio, and then we'd come out and make a parody. So
Very nice, Uncle Z. I like that. So according to IMDb, your first voiceover work was Revenge of Cobra for GI Joe.
yes.
Do you remember how you got started? How did you get into doing voiceover work, and how did you get specifically picked up for GI Joe?
Okay, so it's a really it's an interesting story. And I'm trying to remember how it's like what
Yeah, I know it's been so long.
what yeah.
A few years ago.
So in probably in grammar school, maybe not grammar school, but probably junior high school, I started doing impressions. And, we all started doing impressions. And my buddy, Barry Hogan, probably did better impressions than me. But, we just, that's what we did. We did impressions. And then in high school, I was asked to do impressions. And I was I wasn't doing my own impressions. I was doing, I was doing an impression of Frank Gorshin doing an impression, right? Because I hadn't come in on my own yet,
Right.
And then I did a little stand up, and then started to work with in Los Angeles with the LA Connection, and I started to do improv. And, the fact that I could do numerous voices and numerous characters came in handy. And then one day, a buddy of mine said, "Do you know how to do loop ADR?" And I went, "Of course I do." I had no idea what that was, but oh yeah. So he said, "Well, come down for an audition." And I went in college. I did oral interpretation of literature, expository speaking. So I was pretty good with the script. And they were dubbing Spanish soap operas into English. Why? I have no idea.
Why not?
But the money was flowing, and it was a job, and so I went to work, started to do this, started to do this, and from that I met or auditioned for Rudy Ferrer, who was a great guy from Warner Brothers, and he was doing the looping the English version of Fanny and Alexander. And and this is the great showbiz story. So I got cast as as like 3 different roles in Fanny and Alexander. And so this was my first union job. And it was, I made $450, and the union dues were $600.
Of course.
So this was this was the economy at the time. So anyway, I'm working for the life of an actor is you're just going from job to job. I was with the LA Connection. We were going from nightclub to nightclub to nightclub, and we were rolling. We were just rolling. And certainly I was. And then I'm at Michelli's restaurant. I'm having a drink with Wally Burr, who I've known for years. And I'm telling him I'm doing improvision at on Santa Monica Boulevard. There's one of the big, the New Art Theater, I think it was. So we were doing improvision there. And we were looping Ed Wood's Bride of the Monster. So it was a terrible movie, and we were looping it. And so we turned it into a James Bond movie. And of course, I got to be James Bond. And so I'm telling him this story, and he's looking at me, and I'm going, what's up? And he goes, we can't find a voice for a character. Do you want to audition for this? And I went, sure. And so they showed me the picture and sort of gave me the of Zartan, and I came up with a voice. And that it was one of those auditions where you're standing in a room alone, and and they go, okay, and go ahead, and then you go, so Colonel Sharp, it is I, Zartan, who rule the swamp. Okay, hold it. And then 4 people, and you can't hear. They're just like, they're talking, and then, and let's do it again. And, and it was, and then they said, okay, you're Zartan.
Very nice. I like that. So your Zartan voice, was that all you, or did they do any ADR or any digital effects to it, or is that all?
Later on, they did digital effects to it. They thought that it would be better if, he could, because he's taking on every voice.
Right.
They digitized his voice. But I'm hoping that, and I imagine it has, my performance has come through.
Oh yeah, no, you did in fact, I put on my Facebook group that I was going to talk to you, and one of my fellow podcaster friends had a question about that. But so how did you like working on G.I. Joe?
It was crazy. It was fun. It was, I met a lot of people. It was very different. Most of the time when you're doing, when you're doing voiceover work, you're alone, or there's one other person in the room. But here it was like a radio show. Uh-huh. Wally would bring all the actors in. He would rehearse us. We would watch the storyboard, and it was a very different experience because the animation was made to our voices, which is different than looping like Japanese animation.
Right.
So we're looping to someone else's voice, just like the Spanish soap operas.
Right.
And so but this was made, especially they were going to make the animation to our voice. So what they sent was the audio file and the storyboard, and Sunbow went ahead and created the GI Joe.
Very nice. And over the chat, over on I think it's on YouTube, Heinz Koch, one of our regular viewers, is there. He says hi. Let me see real quick. So one of the questions that one of my friends asked me to ask you about was if you had any good Wally Burr stories. He said that usually people have good Wally Burr
that I can tell.
That you can tell, yes.
I just loved Wally. He, Wally came to life when there was stuff blowing up, when, and that at the end of every episode, there was wild looping, which was, and it's Wally, like he's calling out Rocky. All right, give me a shot to the head. Give me one to the stomach, one to the solar plexus. Now, give me now, just like a grenade's just been blown up at your feet. Okay, good. And so he would just direct that, and it would be so much fun. Wally was great.
And follow-up question that Buddy Hoover, you wanted to know how they got some of those great screams out of you, because Zartan had some great screams. In fact, on my show, we got done watching the first part of the Worlds Without End, and Hoover said that there was a great scream in the first part of that one. He was wondering what Wally or whoever was in charge did to get such great screams out of you.
We're actors, we've seen the stuff. We can do the screams. It's doing them over and over again that's really difficult. And it wasn't me. I mean, like, if I had a chance to scream, I would scream, no, because it never works out for Zartan. Let me just say, and he's so brilliant and he's got the dreadnoughts, but it never works out. And so there is always a scream somewhere in there,
Oh yeah.
And so Chris Latta,
right,
who was he was the Rock. He was, the Cobra Commander. Talk about screaming.
Oh,
because he, it would completely melt. I mean, like, yeah, they try and get me, but for the Cobra, it would totally melt down, and he would have to have a meltdown at the end of every episode. And I think it was Michael Bell. One day and the thing went on for like 30 or 40 seconds. And then they go cut, and Michael goes, is that a piece of lung on your window? Is that? But it was great because we were all. I wish there were pictures of what we did at the time, because there were 8 microphones. There was the Joes were over here, right, and the Cobras were over here, and they brought us all in.
Oh, that's very nice.
It was great, and then we, there'd be a little, we'd be sitting out in the lobby and come back in. And
very nice. Yeah, I would love to be a fly on the wall in those sessions. And I'm sure I could see Chris Latta, from the little I've seen of him, actually get into the part. I'm sure
he was great. He was just terrific. And Arthur and Morgan and
right.
everybody, Michael, Frank Welker, Greg Berger, and I'm just like, I can't,
Right.
Mary McDonald Murphy, Mary McDonald, and oh boy,
Yeah.
and Scarlett. Yeah, and it's please, I'm retired. I can't remember all these things.
No, it's been a while, but
Where's the cast list? That was it. Like I was like so excited because I was going to have my name on television. I was like, oh yeah, I got my name on television. I'm doing a television. And then at the end of the credits, the cast goes like this. If you ever watch the credits at the end of the G.I. Joe show?
oh yeah,
What was that? What happened?
yeah, just zoom right on by. Yeah, 1 second, Grayson, you need to stop that, son.
Okay.
Sorry that. But yeah, over in the chat we have Jim Mill and also the Photo Viper joining us. Photo Viper says, Zartan.
Hello, my little dreadnought.
I love that. Fantastic. So let me see real quick. So do you have any favorite memories that just jumps out at you from your time doing G.I. Joe?
Wow. It's hard. I mean, yeah. I mean, I have all sorts of wonderful memories, and the story of Cold Slither, and they let us sing. That was wonderful, and it just it was a time in my life where I was doing a lot of things, and G.I. Joe was one of them. And it was a great thing to be able to, show up and do this, and Chris was doing stand-up comedy. Arthur's a Shakespearean actor.
Oh, okay.
So everybody, oh man, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at names, and she's wonderful. She played anyway, she's an opera singer and a wonderful cabaret entertainer. So people are not, it's like, we're just getting together. Let's get together and do the show. And then, life, it's like lighting the impossible, and that thing is burning, and and you're off going there. So we had a show called Sequential Circuits at the LA Connection Theater. Okay. And at that time, and then we were playing at the Laugh Factory up on the Sunset Strip.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you tell me, go back to that time. It's like,
right.
There's so many things going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Definitely. So when you weren't doing like voiceover work, did you do like any stand-up comedy yourself, or?
I did. I was really terrible at it. Yeah. But doing improv was, I went and saw I can't remember when, but we went and saw, my friend Kelly took me to see The Committee at the Tiffany Theater on Sunset Strip. And it was Ron White and Gary Austin and come on, Rob Reiner, right? And they were doing stuff that I just flipped out over. The opening sketch, it was at a time when Walt had passed away, and he had left Disney to Mickey. And
Right.
so it was Mickey and Donald and Goofy running Disney Studios.
Oh, jeez.
And it was brilliant and it was hilarious, right? And they were just spot on with the impressions. And I went, that's what I want to do. And I took classes and started performing, and I just love doing improv. It was wonderful.
Very nice. I like that. Let me see real quick. So besides G.I. Joe, which is my biggest thing, you also in several other shows. You did Pee-wee's Big Adventure, as I said, Highway to Heaven. Out of this other stuff that was non-G.I. Joe, did you have anything that was particularly fond of, or that you look back and makes you smile?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think you look back on all of it and
Right.
say, what a lucky guy I was. I sustained for 35 years. That's miraculous.
No,
That's
amazing.
absolutely miraculous. And, you reinvent yourself so many times.
Right.
We did I guess it was a New Year's Eve benefit for all the people that had volunteered to provide food during Christmas for the food kitchens in Los Angeles. So there were a couple of hundred people, and we came up and we did the entertainment for them. And it was one of those nights where the audience was so appreciative and we were so appreciative, and it was magic, and I, you have those moments in performing. You have those moments of growth, of the difference between doing an impression and being a character, and then as an actor, what is the you that you bring to the role? Because if you don't bring the you to the role, it's disingenuous.
Right.
And people go, yeah, okay.
Very nice. I like that. And so, like I see, you've had a lot of different jobs, a lot of different voiceover, a lot of different acting spots. Was there any worse memories anything that was like a bad, someone you worked with that just didn't click?
But I'll tell you a great memory. And yes, there were bad memories, and I don't want to remember them. All right.
All right, that's fine. Let's get this.
But I'll tell you those two. It's all right. But I'll tell you a great memory. Peter Falk hired me to sing Amore to his girlfriend, wife, I guess, his wife at Spago's. So I got to walk into Spago's and sing a cappella Amore to Peter Falk and his wife.
Wow.
Come on.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Hollywood, baby. That's Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. That's just, wow. How do you pick you to do that? Do you know offhand?
I used to work as a singing waiter.
Oh, okay.
It's called Michelli's in Studio City.
Okay.
So I want to say famous, but I think infamous. I'm not sure exactly what.
Whichever.
Yeah, whatever it was, they wanted me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Over the chat, Photo Viper wanted to know, as far as your Zartan character,
yeah,
he had that camouflage ability. Did you consider that like a natural ability, like a mutation, like an X-Man, or was that Zartan experiment on genetically? Did they ever come up with that, or do you have any ideas on that? Or
I don't think so. I think it's these are the people that lived in the swamp,
right.
and so I think there was some sort of genetic mutation. I would imagine,
Right.
and he used it to his advantage.
Oh yeah.
Right. I always wanted to meet Zartan's father. I thought that would have been a good episode.
Yeah, yeah. Or his
Right?
father.
And that would have explained everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because we did meet his brother and sister later on in the series, but
right.
But yeah, we never met where he came from. And yeah, I know the cartoon never really delved into Zartan, his origins, or
which I think is great. I am not a fan of origin stories. So, I don't know, maybe I'm talking to the wrong crowd, but for me, I don't need to see a child in front of the grave of Martha and Wayne, the Waynes,
right?
To know that guy's going to be Batman.
Yeah.
The guy that's Batman, he's got the cape and the cowl and the guy that's Tarzan doesn't need to be with a baby with the monkeys. The guy with Tarzan's big, he's got a knife, and he wears a loincloth. Identify him as Tarzan immediately.
Right.
And it's the same with Zartan. You knew who he was.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just 2 minutes. Same with Cobra.
Yeah.
He's hissing, the metal plate on the face. Oh, that must be Destro, the Russian in all leather, Yeah, I think that would be the Baroness. It just, there it is. We don't need to know who they are. They're,
Yeah, no, I can see that, definitely. Most definitely. Let me see real quick. So, what are you working on nowadays? Are you retired?
I'm retired.
You're like, I'm done.
I'm done. I feel like, when I get called to do, and I'm going to be at this, you can see it. It's at the Stafford Center at the Power Show. And I feel like, Al Pacino in The Godfather 3, just when you think you're out, they pull you back in again. Right. But I did for a long time, I did a one-man show called Tuxedo Man. And I really enjoyed doing live theater, and this was great. And I did it for a long time. And, I've done a lot of commercials and, we sort of claw our way through the industry, and we it's like, we hack out we got a machete and we hack out a living. Boom. Okay, I'm going to make a living here. I'm going to try this. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, I'm going to go over here. And so you gotta do it, and eventually you just go, I can't reinvent myself one more time.
Right.
I've had a great run. I've had a great run. I can't tell you how joyful it is to be asked to come and talk about G.I. Joe. It's wonderful. And I didn't get it at first until I went to Toronto, and I'm just about to leave, and there's somebody there with the kids, and they're like, oh man, and I go, so, but how come? And they went, oh man, you don't get it. When we played with the toys, we used your voice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I went, oh, I get it.
Yeah, whenever I read the comics, Zartan is your Zartan to me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you're the definitive Zartan voice. So you just did a great job at it. Just and like I said, it's I mean all the people that worked on it did a great job. So one second, Grayson, move away from the heater. Yeah, all you guys did a great job. But yeah, I mean, some people, Chris Latta for one, yourself for another, you guys did such a phenomenal job at what you did that you guys defined those characters and you made those characters who they are. So I could
Well,
definitely
I
see that.
appreciate you saying that. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be that guy.
Right. So do you do a lot of shows, toy shows or comic shows or anything like that? Or
I don't. This is the rare one for me, and I have friends and family in Houston, Texas, where the Stafford is right outside of Houston. So and not that like the people who the cosplayers
right.
and some of the organizations like Cobra First they're some of the nicest, most wonderful, generous people I have ever met.
Oh yeah.
And just terrific. And so it's a joy to go to one of these.
Very nice. And for those listening in the chat, if you guys have any questions, throw them out there. And again, if you guys are watching this, hit the like button and subscribe. But yeah, again, for those joining us, this is Zack Hoffman, aka Zartan, amongst a lot of other jobs he's done. I don't want to define him by Zartan, but again, that's who he is.
But we're here. But we're here.
And that's what this podcast is, G.I. Joe. So,
and I'll talk about anything. So,
So, how was it working on? You were on Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
That was amazing. That was amazing because they had, if you remember the opening, when he gets his toast and it goes through that, one of the techs walked me through it. Hi, buddy. One of the techs walked me through it, and it was really amazing.
Very nice. And so out of the live action stuff, the acting stuff you did, was there anything that was, I won't say memorable, anything that you really loved doing?
Well, I moved to Seattle about 29 years ago. And I thought, okay, that's it. I'll sell shoes. That's it. I'm done. I'll sell shoes. It's fine. And so obviously not. There were companies that wanted to use my voice. And so I started doing a lot of commercial voiceover. And it was great because it was in that transitional time. The computers were starting to be better and better, and the digital editing was easier and easier. So auditioning for things at home was more home studios, things like that.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for a play called Tony and Tina's Wedding. And I was the drunken priest. And so I would marry them 4 days a week, and they would keep coming back. They keep coming back and get married. And this was one of the great. It ran for 3 years.
Wow.
I've never done a role for 3 years. I'm not Yul Brynner in The King and I, But I did this role from the beginning of the show, pretty much till the end of the show. And it was really, really wonderful. Really wonderful. Great. And the cast was a 25-person cast.
Wow.
And there would be up to 200 people having dinner at the Buffet of Love. And it was a wild, wild time. That's your producer, obviously?
Yes, he is. He's keeping me on my toes over here. Yes, that's Grace. That's my youngest. But and let me see. I haven't seen a lot of the stuff you've been in just because I watch Highway to Heaven all the time, Fugitive. I saw part of it, I guess.
Yeah.
On IMDb, there's only one game you're credited with. Have you done any other video games besides that?
I did one for Wally.
Oh, okay.
Was it the Prisoners of Ice or the Pirates of Ice?
Oh, okay.
And I was obviously the bad guy, because Wally's casting. And I got to learn words like Necronomicon. What's that? It doesn't matter. Just say it,
Very nice. One second. Let me see real quick. What's that? Yes.
So this isn't like radio where there's dead air because we're.
Yeah, I'll go through it all.
Here I am. I'm still alive. I'm moving around.
Yeah. So's my son, but.
Hey yo.
He said, "Hey yo," but yeah, he comes out here and likes looking at my toys and
treasures.
Oh yeah. As my oldest is 30, and then I got the youngest, which is 8. So.
Are you a collector?
Yes. Yeah.
And how long? How long have you been collecting?
Well, I got into GI Joe back in the 80s when I was a kid, and then in 88. or 89, I moved out of my mom's house. So I sold, I moved in some friends. So I didn't have room for everything. So I ended up selling all my G.I. Joe stuff. And then the last probably decade, I started getting back into it. I went and I bought some stuff off eBay, some of the older stuff. And then I've been buying this classified line they've got out. So, but yeah, so I've been probably the last decade I've been back into it.
Excellent.
I've been podcasting. Go see your mom. Your mom wants you. Yeah, you can take it with you. Go.
Yeah, I went to. I thought this was really interesting because I went to a JoeCon, and when we had our panel of the voice actor panel, the room was 3/4 full. And it was a huge room. I mean, there must have been like 1,400 people.
Right.
But when they announced the release of the new toy, there were people hanging from the rafters to get into that room.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Even, here it is, 30 some odd years later, and G.I. Joe is still a big thing. So, very much so. So did you by any chance have anything from your days of working on G.I. Joe? Did you keep any animation cells or?
I have
you can speak about it.
I don't have a lot. I have the actual drawing that of Zartan, the actual first drawing of Zartan.
Very nice.
It's not a cell or anything. It's just on a cardboard thing. And then I have, I used to be the voice of Family Home Entertainment. And they gave me the VHS box with a countdown for Zartan.
Oh.
So I have that. And I have a cousin who is probably one of the best graphic designers in America. Alan Ivanis, if you ever need anybody, and he was able to put it in an 8x10 for me. turn the box cover into an 8x10, which I thought was pretty spectacular.
Oh yeah, it's very nice. Very, very sweet. Just so yeah, I went through most of my questions. So again, what do you have that you want to promote that we have here in the background?
Right. Is it right? Is it this? It's right here. Yeah. It's the Pop Culture Power Show, Stafford, Texas, 10505 Cash Road in Stafford, Texas. Cosplay, prizes, a GI Joe panel. I think the first time Greg Berger's there, his resume is amazing.
Yeah,
really. And he will be there. He did, I believe, Spirit and Firefly, both on the GI Joe series, and then Morgan, who did Baroness, and Arthur Burkhart, who did Destro. So really, the three major villains, and some good guys, all there. Larry, man, these guys are gonna kill me when I get there. Who designed? He drew all the characters for GI Joe.
Larry Hama.
Yes, and he will be there, and he's a wonderful, sweet man, and really happy to see him again. It's been, a lot of years. I mean, it's, I have an Oscar party every year, so this is the first time in 3 years I'm actually people are coming out, and it'll be, and people are like wild, like,
oh yeah,
oh my God.
So you can be
in person? In person.
So you mean on a panel there? Or are you signing autographs, or what?
I think we'll sign autographs. I'm sure there'll be a panel. Edwin is in charge, so I'll have to ask him. But yeah, I'm sure there's a panel, and I'm sure that we will be there signing autographs and talking to the fans of the show. And I look forward to seeing you. Yeah, come on.
Anyone listening in this Texas area, go over, or if you make it there, go to the Power Show and have a talk with Zach and all the other guys from GI Joe that's going to be there. It's fantastic. Wish I could make that. That'd be.
And for a bonus, in Stafford is an In-N-Out burger, which I just found out today. I'm excited. The double with cheese. Come on.
Yeah, I like some In-N-Outs. Yeah, I'm here. I'm near Fresno, California. So
right. So you got it. I mean, yeah, LA. We knew that.
Yeah. Very nice.
Let's talk burgers for a while. Now we're talking.
Yeah,
we have this Habit burger.
Oh, yeah, we have that here.
The Habit, very good.
Yeah, we have that up here in Fresno. That's a good burger. Yeah, I like that one too. I've been there in a while. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm thinking about food now. Okay. Which is fine,
Yeah, let's talk food.
But the big pizza guy.
Let's talk Chris Rock. I mean, whatever.
What else you want to talk about? But yeah, no, I guess I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to sit down and talk with this old geek. So you did, many years ago that,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Lots of other things. And again, from the chat, Photo Viper says, as a lifelong G.I. Joe fan, he'd like to thank you for your contribution to the lore, as well as your contribution to all of our childhood imaginations. Your voice will be remembered forever.
Oh, man. Thank you.
That's
awesome.
Like I say, when I play with the toys or when I read the comics and Zartan speaking, I can't but help but speak of hear your voice speaking, because you were just phenomenal at it.
Yeah, that's Morgan Freeman ruined the Alex Cross books for me now, because that's all I hear is him as I read the books, right? Yeah,
you hear a live action doing, and then they do such a good job at it. It just, whenever you read a book or a comic or whatever it may be, you hear that voice, most definitely. And Jim from the chat says that Zartan was such a unique character And if you mention that name to most anyone that grew up in the 80s, they know who it is. How Zartan was portrayed and acted on the cartoon was a large part of this. But yeah, no, it's
Just very funny. So if I go to my high school reunion,
right.
nobody knows who I am. Go home and tell your kids you
Right.
met Zartan. Because they'll know who I am.
Yeah.
But not you.
Yeah. And Jim also says, thank you for being a part of many of our childhood. And that's you
happy to do it. It was, it was made with such love and such humor, and I think that if they make a movie, they've got to have that, it's like Mission Impossible.
Right.
It didn't get to the spirit of Mission Impossible until, about the third film. Right. And then, the leader cared about all the people and from that point on, I mean, the first two movies were, they were okay, but they were, one was, I don't know. The first one was sort of, we want to be different. And the second one was a John Woo movie. And then oh man. But then the guy who directed it, who's done Cabin in the Woods, and Josh, who did Buffy.
Whedon?
Who? I'm sorry?
Was that Josh Whedon?
Josh Whedon. And then from that point on, it really had the spirit of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Right. And I think hopefully they'll make another G.I. Joe movie, but they'll have to do the thing where they have the spirit of, right. Where the Cobra has a meltdown,
yes.
where Zartan, gets on, he comes so close all the time.
Yes.
Because he's the master of disguise. You don't know who he is. And then he slips up, his ego gets to him, or,
Dreadnoughts fell him, or Cobra Commander screws it up. Yeah, they've had two G.I. Joe movies, I say, ignoring the Snake Eyes one. And that Arnold Vosloo play Zartan. And he did a great job with what they gave him. But honestly, I miss your voice. I miss having your voice as Zartan, because like we said, you are the voice of Zartan. So,
well, thank you. Thank you.
If they do another one, they need to get you in there and get you to be Zartan, the live action Zartan.
Live action Zartan with an old man as Zartan. I could be Zartan.
Oh, fantastic. Well, let's see what else has in the chat. Anything? I think I've ran through the questions I've had for you. I was wondering though, before I depart, actually, I'll get that in a minute.
Okay.
So is there anything else coming up besides the power show that we got there that you want to promote? Anything you got, any books out, or anything else you want to promote?
No, I've written a small book of poetry. If you get a chance, it's published on Amazon. It's called Late Model. And you can find it on Amazon.com.
I'll look that up and put a link to it in my show notes.
Oh, great. Okay. I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, if you gotta like poetry.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. So it sounds, I feel the chat here, so I remember it. So I have to look it up and I'll have to look that up and find it.
Yeah, and I've become, I've become a big fan of tennis in my waning years here. So I play senior tennis. There's a blog called Play or Die Senior Tennis, and we're having a ball. Playing tennis. I played today indoors with the guys that I've been playing with for years, and we had a blast. And happy to do it.
Oh, if you want to talk about this, do you have a family?
I do. Yeah, sort of.
Some people don't like
that
it.
over there. We'll just keep that over there.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I can pull that out. I just, well, yeah, some people don't mind talking about. Some rather, yeah, let's just keep that separate. That's all good. Well, again, thank you very much for joining us, Zach.
My pleasure. Thank you, Aaron. Thank
Before
you.
I go, can I get you to record a couple of spots for me for my podcast?
Absolutely.
Let me just see real quick. If I can get you in the Zartan voice, if I can get you to say this is Zartan and you're listening to G.I. Joe, American Headcast. Do you see the private chat there on the side? I can throw it in there.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Oh, private chat. Boom. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I'll throw it in there.
Yeah, just type it up and.
You do a couple different ones. I'd love that.
All right. You ready?
Yep. Thank you.
Here we go. This is Zartan, and you're listening to G.I. Joe, a real American headcast.
I love that. But if you don't mind doing a couple, I got another one of my shows, and then a friend of mine has a G.I. Joe podcast, actually.
Excellent. This is Zartan, and you're listening to Bravo Team. Yes, the Bravo Team. This is Zartan, and you're listening to G.I. Joe Chronicles, which I don't like. It should be the Cobra Chronicles, but no.
That's the last one I just sent you.
This is Zartan, and you're listening to The Adventure Continues.
Very nice. And can I get a Cobra? Can I get you to say Cobra in Zartan's voice?
Sure.
Like he does?
Cobra!
Thank you very much, Zach. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Joining us, ladies. Yeah, Sergeant Slaughterhouse has also joined us in the chat.
Oh, he's one of my favorite people. What a great guy.
But I say you can't really see him that well, but we were talking about the toys earlier, and I've got the Zartan deluxe figure from the classified line.
Ooh,
different heads they can pop on, and
very cool.
And question for you, if you know, maybe that cowl that Zartan wore, was that supposed to be hair? Was that supposed to be a cloth fabric?
I think it's a cloth cowl.
Because yeah, sometimes it look like hair, sometimes it look like, but most of them look like a cowl. I'm like, I don't. It was kind of oddly drawn. I was kind of curious about
right. Yeah, but I think it's the cloth cowl.
Oh, okay.
That's what I believe.
Well, again, I thank you very much for your time.
Otherwise, he'd be like trying to stuff the head,
Yeah. But no, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk with me. Made my day. I just love talking with you.
That's great. Thank you. Have a great time, and thanks for having me on your show.
I should be posting this the 23rd, the week before.
Great. Oh, thank you.
So once I post it, I'll send you a link to it. You know, blast it out and let people know. And
cool.
And you have a safe trip, and you have fun at the convention.
All right. We'll see you soon.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. And thanks everyone in the chat. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast.